Today we're in Maloy, Norway, our first time in Norway. We're going to start the morning with a walk around the town. I'm not sure what there is to see, but we'll find out soon. And then this afternoon we have a boat tour with a stop at a monastery.
Before we dive into this adventure, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This way you can follow along as we travel through Northern Europe, including stops in Edinburgh and Invergordon in Scotland, as well as Maloy and Ålesund in Norway. We'll also be visiting 3 breathtaking ports in Iceland: Akureyri, Ísafjörður, and Reykjavik. As the Norwegian Star arrived at the port of Maloy this morning, Karen and I soaked in the serene atmosphere and beautiful scenery of this lovely harbor. While looking out from the ship, a cute photo opportunity caught our eye. It's located just before you leave the secure port area. Beyond the security checkpoint, a little motorized tourist train was poised and ready, eager to whisk visitors away on a scenic sightseeing tour of Maloy. This spot also served as the hub for the ship's excursion buses, which were beginning to line up to transport those who had pre-booked their adventures. The area is compact and features many vendor booths where you could easily arrange a last-minute tour or connect with a pre-booked excursion. It was clear that there were plenty of options available for anyone looking to make the most of their day, even if they hadn't planned ahead. Our tour was scheduled to depart from the port at noon, leaving us with a few hours to explore Maloy on our own. We took a quick selfie before passing through the security gate and made our way into town.
So we've left the ship and we exited the port right here. There's a crosswalk here. We're going to cross over and then we're going to cross the street again at this crosswalk and walk 900 meters approximately into the city center.
The main street of Maloy is bustling with a variety of restaurants, striking murals, and charming shops that offer local handicrafts and souvenirs. As we strolled along, exploring the different stores, we came across a local Kiwi supermarket. This grocery store not only provided insight into the daily lives of Maloy's residents, but also gave us the opportunity to discover unique local products that we hadn't seen before.
So we're just taking a look at the beer shelf here. There's lots of locally brewed beers, Pilsners, IPAs. Prices aren't cheap though. They're generally between, it's like about $3 to $5 per 16-ounce can per pint. Still, it's known as an expensive area, and I believe they do tax pretty heavily on their alcohol. So we just stopped in at the Kiwi, the local grocery store. You can see it behind me. Picked up a few local items. We've got these cans of Pilsner from Norway. And we found meat sticks, but they're actually reindeer meat. Also found some Norwegian chocolate. And then the best treat that we found of the day, chocolate-covered bugles. Just to talk about the pricing a little bit, these reindeer snacks were about $3 each at the Kiwi grocery store. Probably would have paid 3 times that in the local souvenir shops. So it's worth finding one of these Kiwis. The beers also were about $3 each, or approximately 30 kroner, which is more expensive than what we're used to, but typical for Norwegian or Norway, Sweden, Denmark, any Scandinavian country.
As our departure time neared, we made our way back to the pier, admiring the murals and taking advantage of some photo ops. At noon, we quickly boarded the tour boat and set off, gliding past the Norwegian Star as we departed the port for Selje Island. The boat ride to Selia offered breathtaking views all around. We made a quick stop halfway to explore the picturesque harbor of Selje, an island just 20 minutes from Maloy. As we sailed into the harbor, a mermaid statue greeted us, adding a touch of whimsy to the experience. We coasted slowly to soak in the beauty of the harbor and get an up-close view of the stunning coastline that surrounded us. Then we were off to Selje. The dock was bustling when we arrived at Selia, with another group of passengers waiting to board the ship just as we finished getting off. We disembarked the boat and gathered a little way off to meet our guide, Nina. She kicked off the tour with a quick introduction, starting with some important details. Given that many were curious about the bathroom situation, she addressed that concern right away.
Okay, first of all, welcome to Selia. My name is Nina. I'm the local guide here. Nina. Yeah. I live on the mainland in the village there. We will pass it on our way back to Maloy. Usually I do this session down at the dock, but it was a bit crowded when we came, so I thought I'd do it here instead. Some safety and practical information. If you need to use the toilet, you see the two doors facing towards us on the building there? That's two toilets. There are no electricity out here, no flushing toilets, so this is what we in Norway call utedo. That's translated to outside toilet. So this is the authentic Norwegian experience. It's what the common household had up until 1930s, 40s, some even up to 1960s.
We were led to a spot near the bell tower, where we could all gather to hear Nina share the tale of Saint Sunniva and the island of Selje, Norway's oldest pilgrimage site. Although the video is quite lengthy, Nina's storytelling is so captivating that I felt it was essential to include it in this episode.
So, the legend says that there was a princess named Sunniva living in Ireland sometime during the in Norway we say 900s. For you it would be mid-10th century. Her father was the king in one of Ireland's many small kingdoms at the time. And when he died, she inherited his kingdom. And this was at the height of the Viking ages in Scandinavia. And as you've probably seen in all of the shows and movies, we were known for traveling all the way down through Europe, and unfortunately the Vikings did a lot of damage on their way as well. And this Viking chieftain, he heard about this now queen, Sunniva, and he thought that if I can get this woman to marry me, then I can get all of her land and her powers. So he first tried to charm her. Sunniva, she was brought up in Christian faith, so she was not interested in this guy at all. And when she declined his proposals, he probably got offended and mad. It became a conflict between the two of them, and it ended in him threatening her that, okay, if you don't marry me, I will take your kingdom anyway, and I will kill your people while I'm doing it. So Sunniva, she decided to leave, took a group of her people with her, and they set out to the sea in several boats. Allegedly, no compass, no sails, no roars, nothing to help them, only the belief that God would take them safely across the sea. And with the sea currents, they traveled north, and eventually they stranded here on this island of Selia. And at that time, nobody was living on the island, but people in the village back here that we are passing on our way back had animals out here for pastures. And remember, this is at a time where we were still believing in the old Norse gods and the Norse religion. We had not taken in Christianity yet. So the people in the village were not very happy about these new settlers coming to the island. And Sunniva and her group, they settled up there in the cave that was back then much bigger than it is today, and they lived out of what they could find here on the island. After a little while, it became a conflict between the people here on the island and the locals in the mainland, and they sent a Viking chieftain and his men out here on a mission to hunt down Sunniva and her people and kill them. And you can imagine, for those of you going up there after, if you're standing up there and looking, you have a panoramic view of the whole area. So Sunniva, she stood up there and she saw this Viking ship coming towards the coast here. And she knew that this is someone that wants to hurt us. So she took a group of people into the cave, prayed to God that God should save them. She basically prayed that God should let the mountain fall down upon them and that his holy angels should come and take them to heaven rather than them being captured and probably killed. And according to the legend, God answered their prayers. So a big portion of the front of the cave collapsed upon them and buried them inside. So when the Viking chieftain and his men came, they could not find anyone on the island, so they left again. This place was quiet and the years went by. Then people started noticing weird lights in the sky above the island. And some tradesmen passing by, they found a human skull lying on the ground here, and it had a very special sweet smell coming from it. And they knew that, well, bones or something dead is not supposed to smell sweet, but they had heard that it could be a sign of something holy. And we have now moved a little bit ahead in time. So the king at that time, his name was Olav Tryggvason, and he was one of our so-called missionary kings. In Norway, when Christianity came, it was not only forced upon us from the Pope or from the outside, it was actually brought home with the Viking kings. Because the Vikings that traveled all the way through Europe, many of them were actually baptized in England, France, and they took Christianity back home with them and basically forced the people to subdue. And Olav Tryggvason, he was one of these kings. So he wanted Christianity to our country. So when he heard about this island, what people had seen here, what they had found here, he wanted to go here himself. So he went here, and on his visit here, he went up there in between all of the rocks. He saw human bones lying there, and they all had this weird sweet smell coming from them. So he started digging out the cave to see if there could be anything else. And in the deepest part of the cave up there, he found Sunniva. But she was not deteriorated and turned into bones like the rest of her people. She was still lying there whole, with her skin, her hair, and her dress. And this is said to have happened in the year 996, and because of the state that her body was found in, she was named a saint. And she's actually the first ever saint in Norway, and still today the only female saint that we have. So this place, first of all, it became a holy place, and after a while it also became a very popular place of pilgrimage. And they decided that
After hearing Nina share the legend of Saint Sunniva, Karen and I felt inspired to explore the surroundings, beginning with the bell tower. As we stepped inside, we discovered ropes, ready to be pulled to ring the bell. The climb to the top was steep, with uneven steps that had become worn over centuries, but the amazing view from the bell tower made the effort worthwhile. Once we descended from the bell tower, we made our way to the stairs leading to the cave at the summit. The stone steps were steep and uneven, making the ascent challenging and a bit nerve-wracking. While there were a few iron rods to grip, we often relied on the mountain's edge or the walls of the old church for balance and support. We stopped at a couple of the flat terrace areas to rest, take photos, and admire the view. Finally, I reached the cave, where I found a Norwegian flag and a large boulder with a cross carved into it, marking the spot where legend says the incorrupt body of Saint Sunniva was discovered. The views from the cave at the summit were unforgettable. We descended the steps and headed towards a small stream that Nina had pointed out. She mentioned that the water was believed to be holy and possessed healing properties. The cold, clear water flowed down from the mountain and was said to be safe to drink. While Karen took a sip, I opted not to, but we did fill a container to bring back to the ship with us. We hopped back on the boat to Maloy, making a quick stop in Selia, just 15 minutes away, to drop off a few passengers. There we were welcomed by a statue of Sunniva. Karen and I returned to the Norwegian Star feeling great about our Maloy adventure. We loved exploring the port area and especially enjoyed our time in Selia. See you next time. Cheers! In our upcoming episode, we'll dock at the picturesque port of Ålesund, Norway. There, we'll wander through the port area and catch a hop-on, hop-off bus that will take us to the stunning Fjellstua viewpoint on Mount Oxla.